What is going on, boys? I hope you guys are doing great. It is a beautiful weekend. Today we're going to be talking about worst jobs to work at tier list. Okay, this one is going to be a bit of a longer video just because I took the time to, look up like the kind of median salaries of each of these jobs, and we're going to talk about like the experience and whatnot. So, get your coffee, get your anabolic food or whatever you're eating, or your pig feet. Who eats pig feet? Pig feet is disgusting. Let's get into it. So the first, as you guys can see here, we got a couple options. Worst of the worst, bro. Don't work here, bro. It's a death trap. Okay, don't do it, brother. Don't do it. Last chance. Only work here if you're like geo-locked and like there's no other decent options around you, but like you absolutely need money. Like if you're in the country but you just had a kid type of vibes. You know what I mean? Crappy. These jobs suck. They'll get you by. Maybe if you what I mean? We'll get more into that later. Decent, this is a good line of work. Okay, has some potential. Pretty good. This is a pretty good option. This is a pretty good option. If you stay here for like 10, 15 years, nobody's looking down on you. These are respected. God tier. These are the jobs that like have the most earning potential and gives you the most freedom. Okay, ultimately to maximize to, if you want to call it satisfaction max or leisure max, you want to make the most amount of money with the least amount of effort. Okay, so let's start at construction worker. Okay, some pros to being a construction worker. Pretty good for your body. You're gonna get a lot of sun, a lot of vitamin D. Pretty respected job. But the pay. Let's start with the pay. It can really range. I'm just going to talk about my experience before I get to what I looked up. When I started, I wasn't doing like regular construction, like going on sites and like building up neighborhoods. I was more so like on a plant, but we were like building like truss rods for you guys to use. And so that's why I class, you know what I mean? So I started out at like 14. I think 17 or 18 years old. And then at that particular place, I got one promotion and I maxed out there at like 18. But then they switched to like bi-weekly pay. That sucked. But so on the low end, it's saying, you can make around like $26,000 a year at the absolute lowest end. Let's say like you're getting paid under the table, you know what I mean? You're illegal or something like that. On the high end, it's telling me $70K. If any of you work construction and you make more than $70K, just comment, let us know. But $70K in this economy is not too bad. That is not too bad, right? How long is it gonna take? Okay, think about how long it's gonna take for you to get to a position where you're making $70K, and then try to contrast that with how you think the economy is going to be in the future. And that's really going to tell you if these jobs are worth it or not. I'm going to put this one in decent. Another aspect is the risk of bodily injury. I know, like, you're a man, you're not supposed to. But understand, bro, like, what is it? Health is wealth? Yeah, there you go. Health is wealth. ADHD. I'm neurodivergent, obviously, if you can't tell. But oil rig workers. So I heard that these jobs were like super dirty, but they like paid a decent amount. So hold on. Oh, never mind. Yeah, but they paid a decent amount. So what it's saying here is on the low end, you can make like 40 grand, which is what like less than 10 grand away from what a cop makes, which is not that bad starting out, right? Again, if any of y'all are actually working in these positions, just comment and like correct it. I am using like AI to get these like baseline, baseline salaries. And on the high end of oil rigging, it says like with hazard pay overtime, it could go up to like 150K. So I'm assuming that's like a supervisor type of vibes, right? Um, that's a lot of money. I'm not gonna lie, but this is gonna go in crappy. No, it's not. It's gonna go in decent. It's respected. It's a good job. You get dirty as hell, so you have to ask yourself like, do you constantly want oil on you all the time? You know what I mean? Or I don't know. I'm not an oil rig guy. A librarian. So it's saying on the low end you can start out at like 40,000, which is close to the construction worker, which is kind of crazy. And on the high end, it's saying like 90,000. 90,000. Wow. Okay. But at the same time, I don't think libraries are as relevant as they used to be. Correct me if I'm wrong, if it's like relevant in your area and it's like popping. I'm gonna say last choice. This is kind of like the geolock thing I mentioned before. If there's nothing better around and there's just a library, it's a job. A job is a job. Just go work there. Get your money, bro. You know what I mean? A surgeon. On the low end, it's saying 250K a year, and on the high end is 500,000 a year. Wow, that is a lot. I would low key put this in God tier, but the sacrifice, bro, like most of your life is gonna be spent in school, just like a perpetual student, assignments, deadlines. You know what I mean? On top of having to work a job next to that to build up. But then if you have a family where like you could just live at home until you finish your surgeon schooling from HK to like med school or whatever, like starting at K to PhD, you just stay at your family's house the whole time. I mean, you must have a pretty nice estate. So, you know what I mean? I don't blame you. But if you're like poor, if you're born poor, you want to become a surgeon, dang, that's gonna be rough, buddy. But still, God's here for the money, for the status, for the clout. Surgeon. You play with people's bodies and stuff. You know what I mean? That's pretty fire. Pet food taster. This sucks. Why would you want to do this? This is disgusting. It's saying here on the low end you could start at 30,000, and on the high end you could like 100,000. 100? What the crap? To taste some dog food. I mean, obviously it's not going to be like dog food that's toxic to humans. Like, they wouldn't do that, right? They wouldn't do that. I'm going to put this in decent, because you really only have to taste something disgusting for like, like 2 minutes. But then some of you weirdos out there like eating dog food, and so this is essentially your dream job. But I'm not going to get into that. Factory worker. Okay. There's no clout with being a factory worker. It's extremely easy to get into. The pay can start at literally $11 an hour. Yes, I've been paid $11 an hour before. Back in 2021, working at this place that unboxes Hershey's. I don't know exactly what they did, because it wasn't Hershey the company. You know what I mean? But I guess it was like a company that Hershey owned, or like, something along those lines. But I was getting paid $11 an hour. That was horrid, dude. That was horrid. If it's your first job, if you just want to get something on your resume, I mean, I guess, man, but they're going to be working you a lot, and depending on the factory, you're going to get dirty. Like, I worked at factories where it was like so hygienic to where it was like annoying, but then I worked at factories where it's like so extremely dirty, you're just like, yeah, like something's going to catch on fire any day now. Literally, bro, it literally be like that. Pay crap. Okay, if you're a team lead working at a factory, I'm sorry, you probably don't make that much. Like, okay, I think my team lead was making, okay, we was making 12 an hour when I was working at this one place, a different place. And I think the team leads there were making $15 an hour, and we had mandatory overtime, and it was Monday through Friday, bro. It was Monday through Friday. That sucked. That sucked. And it started at like 4 a.m. I'm gonna put factory worker at crappy. Can you stack with this job? Yes. If you work at a factory, depending on the factory, of course, there's factories that will pay you closer to 20, closer to 25 for like grunt positions. We're not talking about good positions. We're talking about the grunt positions, like, utility or cleaner or a typical laborer, or like the first level positions you can get into. Once you scale up, team lead, supervisor in a factory, the lowest one I've ever seen was like 45. But that company wasn't ginormous, but he was like doing like 45. And on the high end, from what I seen personally in real life, like 90, bro. I'm not gonna lie, that dude was balling, bro. What is chat saying? Chat is saying 25 to 60. No, I actually know this one is wrong. The high end, like, I've literally talked to a dude that made like 90K, but he was a supervisor. He was doing it for a long time. He's been at a lot of locations, and so he's essentially sold his soul to make that much. So you ask yourself, if you sold your soul for something, would you do it for 90K? And think about that going into the rest of these options, brothers. Nuclear power plant. So it's saying that on the low end over here, you can start out at like 75,000, which is an amazing. If that is true, that's an amazing base, and you can max out at 150. Great option. Gonna take a bit of schooling, probably way less than a surgeon, I would assume. Nuclear power plant. I mean, when we hear about nuclear power plants in movies and stuff, because I've never worked at one, so I can only go off of like movies. It seems like kind of dangerous, to where like a couple bad mistakes can kind of mess up anything. Isn't that what Chernobyl was all about? I don't know. I don't know much about nuclear power plants, so I'm gonna put it in decent. If anybody has worked at a nuclear power plant, please share your experiences, and can you like rate it? You know what I mean? YouTuber is honestly such a god tier career. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, even though I do work a job, bro. Like, really think about this. You wake up, you make content about stuff you care about, stuff you like, stuff you dislike, whatever you feel like, and you can retire yourself from that. That's insane. That's insane work. And I feel like that's more than just like a modern job or like a modern role. YouTube is how do I describe this? There has been people that have made money doing whatever they felt like doing since the dawn of time. You understand? Like, a guy, he likes soda, so he made some ancient fizzy drink or something along those lines, and this is what he likes, and people want it, and so he's like, give me this for this, so he can gain, or give me some money if it was the time period where money, you know what I mean? There's people that have made entire careers just talking about famous people. Think of like a DJ Academics. Think of like GJ Vlad. Think of like Say Cheese. Platforms like that, bro. People have been making money talking about what is perceived as relevant since the dawn of time. And so YouTube is one of those kind of, it seems like a modern career, but it's actually like an ancient career. Think like prostitution. You know what I mean? It's not like prostitution. I'm saying similar to prostitution, as how like prostitution has existed since like forever, bro. Forever, bro. YouTube is the same thing. I have a lot of knowledge, or I like this, or I'm interested in this. I'm just gonna do it. People are gonna watch, if they're gonna watch or not gonna watch, but the people that do watch, that's gonna compile. That's not just a algorithmic thing. I mean, it is an algorithmic thing, but you can expand that to the real world. Like attracts like energy. If 4 people are talking about, I don't know, a super good keyboard, right? It's easier for 4 more people to hear about that likes keyboards, versus if only 2 people are talking about the keyboard. You understand what I mean? Compounding social awareness that leads to being valued. Boom. YouTube is a god tier career. I'm going to be honest. Animal breeding can be very disgusting, but if you're into it, if you love animals a lot, then it's pretty good. Oh, by the way, so YouTube, it's saying on the low end you can make 20K, and on the high end it's saying 100,000 plus, but in reality, like, you guys know, like, top YouTubers are making like millions of dollars, but like your average probably like 300K channel, I don't know, you probably are making around like 100,000 a year, I would assume. If any of you are, just let me know. I mean, I'm not, obviously I don't have 300K, so I don't know. Animal breeder on the low end 25, and on the high end it can go up to 65 is what chat is telling me. You know, that could be fun working with animals. Personally, I like animals. So I think this is pretty cool. I'm going to put this in pretty good. The first one in pretty good, being a soldier. I'm not going to finish that, copyright. On the low end, it's saying like a E1 can make like 25,000 a year, and isn't your guys' checks like untaxed or something? And on the high end, it's saying I lost it on the listing. It's saying 80,000 as a E4 in more senior ranks. I don't know. I'm not in any branch of the army, so let me know if you know. Take a shot every time I say the word no. I don't do that. Drinking is bad for you. Okay. Being a soldier has clout. Being a soldier has aura, right? Being a YouTuber does not have aura, bro. There's so many. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to go back and talk about the auras. Nuclear power plant, aura, animal breeder. Kind of aura, kind of suspicious. It really depends on if you're ugly or if you're attractive doing it. If you're ugly, people are going to be like, unless you're super enthusiastic and high energy, but that's mainly women animal breeder. Like, if you're a dude animal breeder and you're ugly, you're probably not going to be the happiest. And so if you're, it's all energy, just energy max. Decent, it can be aura. YouTuber, no, there's no aura with being a YouTuber, bro. And that's crazy because it's like such a god tier thing to do. That's such a god tier thing to do, bro. Soldiers have aura, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Being a soldier does have aura. But the pay, in my opinion, is crap. You have to do a lot. 12 hours shifts sounds like a lot. Like your job is just your life at that point. Which, I mean, I get it. Can be cool. I mean, it's a whole different like paradigm shift. Like you're living in a whole different sector of like humans and people. Like there's a bunch of people in the army. You know what I mean? You can go, I think, is this true? Can you go a year in the army without seeing any civilians and only army people? Dang, you must see that pattern in your dreams at that point. I'm going to put soldier at pretty good and hella benefits. They pay for like school and stuff. I don't know if they're still doing all that, but as what people say. School bus driver, I'm not going to lie. Don't do this. Please don't do this. It's kind of a weird job. It's annoying. It's saying on the low end you can make 25. On the high end you can make 55, with the mean being around like 38 to 40K. Honestly, like, I wouldn't do it. I don't want to hear kids like be annoying all day and throw stuff and like, you know what I mean? If you are ugly, definitely don't do this job. You will be seen as a creep, especially if you're a dude, okay? You don't have the halo effect. So when you don't have the halo effect and in you're in proximity to something that is seen as pure, people looking at that, I mean, that's just what's going to happen. A paramedic is kind of goated, kind of aura, EMT. Low end, 30K. High end, it's saying 70K, which is pretty good. The job has aura, on like social media and stuff. I'm going to put this in pretty good. You're saving people's lives, bro. Facts. A roofer, it's saying here on the low end, 30K. High end, 50 to 70K. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. Doesn't seem like a bad job. You get to be high up, you crack open a cold one with the boys, you know what I mean? Look at the stars. If you're in a location where there's stars, I know most of us aren't. Like when it's nighttime, I don't see nothing but flipping light pollution, bro. I hate that. I'm also gonna put this in pretty good. It doesn't have too much aura. No, I'm gonna put this in decent. To be pretty good, it gotta come with a little bit of aura. Why are you here? And does any of these need a construction worker has aura? You do not have aura. Actually, I'm gonna downgrade you. We're gonna downgrade you. Amazon warehouse. Okay, there's negative aura that comes with working at Amazon, unfortunately. However, Amazon low-key be paying people. Now, I've never worked at Amazon, but I've seen people working at Amazon that make like $30 an hour, and they're not even like in a higher position. But I guess that would be in more like higher income areas that get more volume, I'm assuming. I'm gonna put this at decent. It's a respectable job. You have a job. If you get into like a good paying Amazon position, I'm not really talking about like delivery. Although delivery, if you like being alone, you like, you want to work out, depending on what you're lifting, delivering can be a decent workout. You find peace and solitude. Really a decent job. Amazon is what you make it. Amazon really is what you make it, because there's people that work at Amazon that like, they stay locked in, they go up, they get a supervisor position, they stack up using Amazon, and then they do a side hustle. You know what I mean? But then there's people that they go to Amazon and it's just like females galore, because for some reason, all the baddies work at Amazon. And I really don't understand why or what kind of tricks they're playing in their application process to filter out. But anyway, Amazon's a very decent job. Freddy Fazbear's Guard. Is this a company? I'm just going to take this to be security guard. On the low end, it's saying like 25. And on the high end, it's saying like 50. So being a security guard is is this Five Nights at Freddy? Hold on. All right, yeah, this is some Five Nights at Freddy stuff. Worst of the worst. A Waffle House worker. Now, I'm not going to lie. You're going to work at Waffle House, you absolutely need to know how to fight, especially if it's in the South. Now, on the low end, it's saying you can make 18 30,000. On the high end, probably like a GM or something. You can make 50 grand. Honestly, why would you want to sell your soul to Waffle House? I'm actually gonna say last choice. Me personally, this wouldn't be my last choice. I wouldn't even consider this an option, but a job is a job. You know what I mean? Especially if you're geo-locked, that's probably the best option there. You know? Sewer cleaner, honestly, job has no aura. Waffle House worker does have a little bit of aura just because of the reputation of Waffle House, but sewer cleaner, negative aura. Hazardous materials, you know, you're going to be working around poop. On the low end, it's saying you can make around 30K. On the high end, 65K with hazard pay and things along those lines. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend this. This is kind of like a last choice type of deal. Lifeguard does have aura. It does have aura. It's saying on the low end, you can make like 20K. On the high end, closer to 45K, which is, you know, not bad. You get to look at attractive women all day, save lives, help people, learn stuff, teach people how to swim, or do nothing and just bake in the sun. Seems pretty fun. I'm going to put this at decent. It doesn't seem like it has too much earning potential, though. It's very like summer job kind of vibes. You know, why would you be a lifeguard for 40 years, buddy? Furry porn artist. Gonna be honest here. A furry porn artist is low-key a god tier career. Let me explain this, bro. These people are shelling out hundreds of dollars for a picture that took an artist 20 minutes to draw. You understand what I mean, brother? This job has negative aura. You will not get any aura. No, actually, I'm going to put this in pretty good just because of how bad, how negatively this will impact your aura. Do not ever put this on your resume. But it's one of those jobs where if you don't care, if you detachment max from society enough not to feel shame or anything like that, bro, unlimited earning potential. I'm sorry, bro. These people are making way too much money. It's insane. It's actually a crime, bro. I don't think AI is gonna have a accurate like measurement on this. Just go look it up, bro. Just look it up on Reddit. You'll see, bro. People are commissioning 3D artworks for like tens of thousands of dollars. Next, we're gonna get to crime scene cleaner. Honestly, this job does have aura. Let me see if I can find a pay here. It's saying on the low end you can make 30K and on the high end 75K with biohazard premiums. I have no idea what that is. That is pretty decent pay, and I'm assuming this has a lot of earning potential. Also, if you want to pair your experience in this with something like YouTube, you can enter in a very like unique bag. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm going to say this is, if you have a strong stomach, you know what I mean? Strong sense of justice, whatever that means nowadays, I'd say do this, bro. It's aura. And you make a decent bag, bro. All you got to do, block everything out. Try not to think about the fact that this guy just offed his kid, and then just go about your business, bro. Hey, at least a nice taco night, right? Right? Anyway, moving on. I'm just gonna put it in decent. A teacher. Okay, honestly, bro. On the low end, it's saying 40K here. On the high end, it's saying 50K. But I also heard a lot of teachers only get paid like once a month. Is that true? And you guys, like, I don't know. This pay kind of seems like I feel like most teachers are making like 40K, but it's saying the mean here is 60K. I ain't gonna lie, the way teachers be talking, I thought y'all were making like 35,000 a year, bro. That's really the way y'all talk. I'm gonna put this in pretty good. The job is decently respected. Just don't be a ugly male working this job. Do not be an ugly male working at this job. Okay, if you're gonna work as a teacher, as a man, you need to be attractive. I'm just gonna be honest. Not because of any alternative motives or anything like that, but simply because of how you're gonna be viewed in relation to the halo effect. That is in play at all times. You may think you're overthinking it. No, it's literally in play at all times. It is never not in play. So, moving on. Porn scene cleanup. Honestly, don't do this. Before you do this, just hard reset life. Before you do that, just hard reset life, bro. Unless, you're a rainbow people and you're a milk dumpster, for lack of a better term. Literally, you know what I mean? Don't do this, bro. Singer, songwriter, dancer. Gonna put this in God tier. This is similar to YouTube, where you are self-producing your own stuff. You are the thing that attracts the money. You know what I mean? So you're a singer, people like your voice. You are the inherent, you're the value. Your voice is the value. You know what I mean? You're a songwriter. Your brain is the value. You're a dancer. Your body is the value. Your brain is the value. You get what I mean? And so in these careers, they have a lot of leeway, a lot of earning potential depending on the amount of circles that they're in. And it can be very freeing. If you're making $45,000 as a songwriter, you're going to be way more happy than the fella making $45,000 at a factory. I guarantee that, unless you have something wrong with you and you have depression and you just don't have the IQ points to figure out how to be happy in life. I'm sorry. I don't know why that triggered me a little bit. Queen's Guard. So we're saying on the low end you can make $30,000. On the high end, it's saying on the super high end $50,000. I didn't think they were getting paid that little for how serious those guys are. But then this job is not really accessible to anybody. So I'm going to put this in worst of the worst. Then being a dentist has kind of aura, but some people don't like you because dentists overcharge for a bunch of stuff. But dentists on the low end are making $120,000, on the high end $300,000. Wow, that's what AI is saying. Honestly, bro, you guys have to go to med school, right? That's a lot of schooling. Could be worth it. Has decent aura. Pretty good. Writer. Another God tier job. Again. You are not relying on a company's state of being in order to feed yourself. You are producing money from your own brain, from your own ideas directly. You inherently have the confidence to be I don't need to make money the way everybody else does. Okay? It's a God tier job. It's a God, honestly. Okay? People may view this as a feminine. Oh, well, instead of being a writer, I'm going to be a construction worker. Okay, buddy. Risk back injury. Work out in the sun all day while this guy is making 10 times more than you, sitting down, typing at a computer on vacation. Come on. Honestly, I hate, and this is not a masculinity maxing channel. It really is not, because some ideas are just so stupid to me. Why are you gonna risk your body more just because you get more aura but less pay? You know what I mean? But again, being a construction worker is way more accessible than being a writer for most. It's really not, but the perception is that it is. Really, all you need to do is write, publish it constantly. That's really all you got to do. But when we see big numbers, we perceive that with years of work and hard difficulty and stuff like that. And anyway, Uber driver, honestly, no aura with this job. Decently respectable. Some girls would turn your way. Some girls would not care if you're attractive. On the low end, you can make 120,000 on the high end full time, like 50,000. And I do think 50,000 is accurate because I've seen people with YouTube channels, bro, and they're making a decent amount on Uber. But I think, are they like diamond tier and they got the professional bags or whatever? I'm gonna put Uber driver at crappy. The reason why I put it in crappy is because to really maximize what Uber can do for you, you need to be closer to a city, a busy city, and you need to have a car with. You have to optimize. You have to optimize your conditions. So, car that consumes a little bit of gas, closer to a city, hang out closer to where everything is at. Get a feel for when people are you have to really probability max to maximize what Uber can do for you. If you are just dilly-dallying along, you're going to find yourself driving and consuming more gas, taking longer trips for less money, less tips. You know what I mean? Porn cameraman, how much are they making? That's really going to decide most of this. 35K on the low end, on the high end, 120,000. Okay. Wow. But that's not surprising though. Wow, but not surprising. So if you can detachment max just a job, you know what I mean? Like, you just put up the camera and like whatever, like, okay. But like, geez, like what if you get like stuff on you, bro? You know what I mean? Like, and you're just there and you're just watching other people plow and you're not plowing. But some porn cameramans do plow. They plow between the scenes or whatever. Honestly, I'm gonna put this, me personally, I'm gonna put this at decent. As long as you're not like doing it from like a cucky angle. If you're getting in your strokes or whatever in between scenes, you're making your money. It's decent money. Freelancing, day rates, you know what I mean? High tier productions, you know what I mean? Hey, and this is really easy to get into, kind of like landscaping. Simply get a decent camera, convince some people on Twitter to let you film them, and boom, you started your career, buddy. Animation is actually pretty good, even though the earning potential is actually on par with these. The amount of work you have to put in as an animator is ridiculous. I'm talking 7 hours of work for 7 seconds of animation. Yeah, like, brother, like, bro, like, this stuff looks so good. Like, it really does. It's great. Being an animator to me is so aura, bro, because I know how hard it is, because I know how to animate. To me, it has so much aura, but it's like, to most people, it's not gonna have that much aura. And I feel like this job is very underrated, but I'm gonna put it in pretty good just because of how hard you have to work. Nursing home worker, as a guy, negative aura. Not gonna lie, you are helping people. You are helping to save the world. Let me try to find the median pay here. Nursing home. Just give me a second. Here we go. On the low end, 25K. On the high end, it's saying around like 50K. And you're helping people. You're making the world a better place, but you got to deal with grannies, grandmas. You know what I mean? What if, like, on their deathbed, they're like, "Come here, dearie," and then they're like, "I'm Hitler's cousin," and then they die right after that? What are you gonna do, bro? What do you do with that? What if they tell you like they're the worst crime they ever did in their life 3 seconds before they die, and now you have to live with that? What? Like, bro, imagine, like, what if, like, don't you gotta bathe these people? Like, no, bro, I'm sorry, bro. Me personally, not last choice. If you're more of a sentimental guy, you love people, you really want to help out the elderly, brother, you go for it, bro. But I cannot. Fast food worker is actually another. No, I'm just gonna put it in crappy. I'm gonna put it in crappy. Me personally, I've never worked at a fast food place that paid more than $15 an hour. I've never been to one that pays more than 15. Now I haven't worked in fast food in like closer to like 5 years, so I don't know what it is now, but I'm assuming a supervisor is making like at least, come on gang, at least 19, 20, 21. Come on, man. Jesus. At least, right? Okay. We're gonna leave that there. You gotta work really hard, very high paced at times, especially if you're like in a very strategically busy area to maximize profits and people being hungry when they're coming home from work. And this turn here is more convenient than that turn, so we're gonna turn this way. Oh, I just so happen to be hungry. Oh, I find myself in the driveway. I got up and sat down. I'm going to put that in crappy. Being an artist, another god tier. I don't need to repeat myself. Brain, produce money, direct, all by itself. No rely on big company. Oh, here, little peasant. Let me give you a way to feed yourself, little peasant. It's a god tier job. Suicide hotline. Honestly, bro, suicide hotline. Can I even say that word on YouTube? Come on, bro. Let's be professional. YouTube. Come on. Let's be professional. It's saying on the low end 35 and on the high end 70,000, maybe if you're a supervisor or something. So, honestly, I've never met anybody that was like, oh yeah, I work for a suicide hotline. But that's very respectable, bro. You're stopping people from offing themselves. You don't make the must, but just out of pure aura, just out of pure respect. You know what I mean? Times are hard, bro. So we need more people like you, bro. A cleaner. Honestly, janitors, maids, low end 22K, high end 45K. Doesn't have much aura as a job, but has a lot of earning potential, especially if you start up your own like practice or whatever. Decent. Customer service in my opinion has a lot of earning potential. And the experience is like applicable to a lot of different areas. It's saying on the low end you can make 28K. On the high end it's saying 60K, which is not bad. I'm gonna put customer service in pretty good. You learn a lot of people skills. You learn how to talk to people. You learn how to manipulate people. You learn, other people's manipulation tactics and stuff like that. The only thing I don't like is the corporate like garbage and fakeness, but that is the nature of it, brothers. Okay, we hate everybody here, but we need to be around them for a long time so that we can make our money. That we value the money more than we value liking this person. So you put on your face, you do what you got to do, you leave. Trucker has aura. Trucking has aura. Not too much aura. Saying on the low end here, you can make 35K. On the high end, you can make 90K. Trucking makes the world go around, bro. It's a very like underthanked job, but actually being a trucker seems miserable. I heard that you actually take personal liability for a couple of things that could go wrong. Some companies lock you in for 2 years, which is really not that long considering how much you can actually make from trucking. You're by yourself a lot. If you're like a family-oriented person, that can be a downside for you. Me personally, I'm not. So if I were to ever get into trucking, I really would not. I wouldn't mind that too much. I love the road, actually. So that's cool. I might just get my CDL for the fucks of it. Dang it, I cursed. Hopefully YouTube didn't pick up that one. But I literally just told them that I cursed, so they're probably going to pick up on it. But I'm also not going to edit this. Anyway, trucking, we're going to put in low-key god tier, bro. Just because the earning potential is crazy. I know the liability is horrible, but the aura, you know what I mean? You're on the road. You get to experience stuff. You got the lot lizards at your service, bro. It's not bad, dude. School janitor, I actually don't do this. Just don't do this. Thank you for watching this video, guys. Voice crack is insane. Like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you boys in the next video.